So I've left it on and I'm leaving it to run for a bit, and then the magic smoke starts to come out. Oh, for fuck's sake. That's just bloody... Oh god, yeah, something's gone. I need to eject the cassette, so let's see if we can quickly get it out before something else bangs. There we go. And there you go, you can see her wisping away rather nicely. Let's get the power off. Right, flipping hell. It's around the power supply section, so that's going to be what that is. Oh, I do love these older machines. So this is a separate video, but I was testing this after doing the work on putting the tuner board back in, and the machine was powered up and playing quite happily when a load of smoke started to come out of the power supply. So I thought, that's not good. So I ejected the tape, powered it off, and there was an awful lot of smoke billowing out from this sort of general area here. So what I'm in the process of doing at the moment is taking the front panel off, and I'm going to get the power supply itself out. So there are a series of connectors that you need to unplug from the board itself. This might also need to be separated. It looks like it's been out before, judging by the fact that there is a link there. So it looks like this has been out at some point in the past. But there is the front panel's in the way of quite a big screw down here. So you need to get to that screw to be able to get the rest of the power supply untethered, so you can actually get it out. Now, it's just typical that it happens after you've actually fixed one thing and then something else goes wrong, which is absolutely fine, that's how it is. There's no point in crying over spilt milk, so to speak, but what we'll do is we'll get the power supply out, and then we can obviously get some of these capacitors out of the way and test them without the capacitors obviously in the machine. So I've prized that back a bit. I'm going to get these two disconnected. And hopefully in a second, there we go. Now we can just prize that back down again. Screw down here, which needs to come out. Oh, that's a bit annoying. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's tighten that up, that's better. So if I focus in, come forward, so you can see the screw here. I had to take these out, so I had to prise this back like so. Take them out, put that back in again. And down here there is this screw here which comes out. There's also two on the back holding this heatsink in place as well. So there's two on the rear around here holding this heatsink in. So we'll just undo this screw. There we go. And hopefully, there you go, that starts to come out. So we'll need to decouple all of these wires from the back of the here. Sorry, from the back of here, not the back of the here, the back of here, because they're in the way. And I'm going to have to forcibly separate this one. There we go, that will solder back on easily enough. Just get these out of the way, and hopefully, if all is well and we have nothing else in the way, we should be able to lift this out. There we go, there's one bit. There's another bit, and to do a bit of wrestling. There we go. We are out. And we can actually now have a look at this in closer detail to see what has actually died. So I'll just put that over to one side. First thing I'm going to check though, actually that's quite handy, you can see here is where that little wire here, this little blue wire went onto. It's literally soldered onto there, which is a bit janky, but there you go. This probably means there's some damage to the board itself, but we will have a look around, examine the board, see if there's anything that's obviously toasty. So that's out. Now we have over here this section for the mains, so I'm wondering if there's a RIFA in there, so a RIFA capacitor. So let's pop this open, and it doesn't look like there is, it just looks like it is a connection for the mains switch. However, whoa, hang on. Ooh, yeah, quite a lot of poly odour from there. So let's see how we can get that out. There is, what's holding that in? That might be a stubby little Philips into there to get that out perhaps. But as soon as I took this off, yeah, a lot of smell from there. It wouldn't surprise me if that is where my trouble has started from, and not actually from the power supply board itself. However, you do need to get that power supply board out of the way in order to be able to get into the machine itself. So I'm just going to temporarily put this front panel back on. With faults like this, it is often best to follow your nose, because when something like a capacitor decides to spontaneously combust, it will leave traces of quite awful smells, to be honest with you. Right, let's upend this. Let's see if there is an easy way to get this out. And it's held in with a little Philips. I don't have, stubby won't get in there, so we're going to have to be a bit creative with getting that out. So we do need to, yeah, blimey, we really need to get into there to see what has transpired. And I'm wondering if I can actually pop this board. So if I just pop the board on these plastic lugs like so, and push this through, you can, with a little bit of creative manoeuvring, actually pop it out. Whoa! Hey. And at the back. Haha! There she is. It's a RIFA, and she has popped. That's your problem. So we need to fit a new mains suppressor cap. I don't know if I can, I'll put that there. But yeah, you can see it's cracked. If I zoom in, And going even further, just do a little bit of that there, and focus. There you go. That's the problem. Nice and simple, and thankfully nothing to do with the general power supply, which is good. So I can pop that back in at some point. I will need to solder. Don't know if you can see it on the camera. Yeah, we'll need to solder that back on. But there we go. Anyway, this is going to be the next one to replace. So, if you've enjoyed this, don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching and take care. Hi and welcome to today's video. So this is actually a continuation of a video that we have already been watching. And that is basically troubleshooting some of the problems that we got with the power supply on this Philips V2000 VR2022. Thankfully, it looks like it is just this mains suppressor capacitor, which you can see here, and it has split. Now, one of the things it did was, because they're sort of, I think they're oil filled, it did put quite a bit of oil over the board. So I've cleaned that up with a bit of 99% isopropyl alcohol, and that has cleaned that up quite nicely. But the next thing that remains is to unsolder this little suppressor and pop in its replacement. There's no polarity for these, so there's no positive or negative, so it'll just go in, and hopefully once that's done I'll be able to get the power regulator board back in. I need to solder this here back onto a single point on that power regulator board, plug all the connectors back in, and then continue with testing the deck to see if a bit of use will actually improve the picture. The picture has actually started to improve after I've replaced some of the capacitors on the tuner board. The owner of the deck tells me that it's absolutely perfect over composite, but we don't have, and he doesn't have, any of the composite interfaces that go onto the multi-plug connector on the back here. So we're having to do it all via RF, which is a bit annoying. It seems to be sort of typical Philips for that era. I mean, if you just sort of look at the top of this, there really isn't any space anywhere in here to actually put a separate composite and audio output interface. It is jam-packed. So Philips would have an additional interface that would sort of piggyback onto the back here, and you would then be able to use a composite output as well as a separate audio output. It's a little bit annoying, but it is what it is, and you can't really sort of get annoyed about something that was developed over 40 years ago. So I've just found one of my many solder suckers. Let's try and unsolder this RIFA capacitor. Just clean off the tip of the soldering iron. I think that's beginning to look a bit better. There we go. So we're focusing on these, specifically these middle joints. So these ones are for the plug, those two are for the cables going into the machine to the transformer. It's these two here that we really want to be focusing on, so let's just get those heated up. And I'm not really going to be concerned about how long I keep the soldering iron on there, I just want to get it nice and hot. And same deal with this side. There's a lot of solder there, so that's why I want to get all of it warm, so that when I go like that, you get in the bulk of it. Just need to do this bit here as well. So let's see if that has released anything. No, not yet. We'll do this side a bit more first. And another focus on this side. Let's pop that back into the holder. Oops. There we go. And let's see what we have here. So perfect. Look at that. Straight out. Now if I, there you go. If you look closely, if I just focus on that, you can see where it's cracked, and that is really common on these resin covered ones. Very common for that to happen. A good example of ones that haven't blown but are probably going to are these ones that I took out of a BBC power supply. So you can see there, if I just focus in on that again, that has already begun to crack, but it hasn't actually blown yet because there's probably not enough moisture in there. But that is right on the edge. So that's another RIFA for my collection. In fact, you can actually see with this BBC one that it is still full of its oil, whereas this one is empty. And that's because it's all boiled off effectively. So I'll just pop these back onto the little foam pad that holds them on. Nice little collection there. And alright, let's refocus on our work area. And let's have a look at the board on the other side. So you can actually see that there's 3 holes. And the reason why there's probably 3 holes is this board is designed to accommodate 2 different sizes of those suppressor caps. So I'm going to pop on this new one, which is a different design to the older ones, and these ones I think they're known as X2 types rather than RIFA types, and they don't tend to pop anywhere near as much of alarming regularity. So there we go. We'll just bend those over. There we are, like so. Just wedge that there so it's sort of held in place, and we can now start soldering it in. Right, so I've got the soldering iron. I've got a nice amount of solder which will just cover the whole pad. And same story with this one. Healthy amounts of solder just to make sure you've got full coverage. And that does indeed look like a nice amount of coverage there. So I just need to... Actually, do you know what I might do? I might put a bit of solder on these two as well. So those are the connectors going into the transformer. So I'll just give those a little blobette as well. There we are, and there we go. There's nice amounts of solder across the whole lot. There we go. So just do a quick double check, make sure that looks okay and it hasn't crossed anywhere. Nope, that hasn't crossed anywhere. We've got a nice blob of solder between that mains and the... sorry, between that RIFA cap and the output to the machine. So let's get these chopped off. So that's those chopped off, and all that we need to do now is pop this back in. So we've got this little cap here, and that literally just sort of goes into there to lock the figure of 8 connector in place, and then clips like so, and you're done. That is your mains suppressor replaced. So the final thing that we need to do is to get the board back in, the power regulator board. And to do that, we have a number of connectors that you can see that I'm generally sort of just pulling out here. If I just rotate the camera a bit, or bring it back a little bit, you can get a view of the whole picture. So, if you remember from last time, there are 3 screws holding this front panel on, and the front panel will just tip forward like so. And there is just this fantastic piece of design with a plastic strap that holds it in place. It's brilliant. It's just a very simple yet elegant solution to the problem that they obviously thought you might have. In other words, not the RIFA problem, but the problem of getting the board out and keeping this in a position. So I'll just move these out of the way, and let's reunite our distribution board or regulator. Now you can see here, whoops, there, which is where I've got to solder that single cable back onto. So I may as well do that whilst we are in situ here. So we've only got this one big connector to plug in here, and I should be able to manipulate it back in with said connector in place. So let me just double check something. Yeah, that should be fine. So the connector, where is it going? Is it actually this way it goes in? Yeah, there is that way. Okay. So we need to pop that back onto there. So I'll grab the soldering iron, grab this, heat it up a little bit, and then just do that. And that is reconnected. So all I literally did was just heat that up and then just push this on, and that is all I needed to do. Now I hope that's on the right way. Pretty certain it is, because then that would clip over like that, and there is Yeah, so that is on, especially with the way that that's twisted around. So we have these two, which go somewhere. Yeah, I found where these go. These ones are over this side. Actually, you can't see that. Let's see if I can bring that up a bit more. So these two go over here. So get this into some kind of position first. I might need to just temporarily unplug this one as well, actually. So let's just get that unplugged and rest that there. What I'm doing, I'm just trying to work out that I have actually got this in correctly. Pretty certain I have, because you've got like a clip on the other side, and that seems to be the sort of the general way that it wants to go in. What I will need to do is just get this into place first, I think. Like some tracks on the actual transformer that you can sort of push it down like so, and then that's in position. It's quite elegant actually. Right, what isn't so elegant is how these go in. So that is a 3, so that goes into the one with 3. Okay, yeah, that's clipped in nicely, so I did have that other one the right way around. These ones don't have a broken tag, so they actually just click into place. So let's try and do this one, hoping that that's going in. So 4 and 4, yeah, it's the right one. It's just particularly fussy to get into place, and there we go, that's in. So I'm going to tuck those out of the way, because they are now in. And is there a little wiring loom under there? Oh yes there is. I'm going to tuck those into this little wiring loom harness. So they can go down and under and tuck into there. This one can also do the same, I think. So this one can go into there as well. And then making sure that that hasn't come away, which it hasn't. This can now go, I think it goes over. Actually, that might need to be unleashed from there, to be honest, because it needs a bit more flexibility. Sorry, I might have routed this one incorrectly. So I think this one actually comes up around here. Yes, it does. You've got these clips on the back here, so these clips will hold this one in place like so. And then this one will just literally come around. It's already sort of twisting into the right position to go in there. So like so, and it's going to be this side, like so. Whoops. Okay, that one's in. and then that can just be plopped down the back. Right, now we've got this one, which is from the transformer. So this one is in one place, that one will go, which is over here. That's in place. We've got this other one from the transformer. I think that one's actually got a pin on it, so there's also this one as well, which I think comes over, locks into that, locks into this one as well, like so, and plugs into here. There we go, that makes a satisfying clicking noise, which means it's probably in the right place. And then we've got this one, which I think there really is only one way that can go. And there, that one's in place as well. Right, so, excuse me, that looks like it's all in place. Whoops, plonk. So, what I need to do now is you've got this heatsink here, which screws into the back there. So we'll grab the screws and we'll get those screwed into place. We'll also get the power supply screwed into place at both ends. Ow. So we have, there we go, 1, 2 and 3, so we've got 3 screws to hold that in. So we have 2 black screws, and those are the ones that go onto the heatsink at the back here. So this heatsink is actually a nice little design feature because it runs across the back of the whole machine, so it looks aesthetically in place. This is the weird thing about this machine. There are some features on it that you think, why? And then there are some features on it that you think, actually that's really nice. I like what they've done there. They've basically made an aesthetic feature out of something that is sort of really sort of quite practical. And there we go, that's the other one. I think that's going in. Yeah, that's going in. There we go. That one's secure. Now you need to do around the front, you've got the connector, so hole down there for that. So that one is this one, which is the silver screw. And that goes into here somehow. There we go. And that's the distribution board or regulator held in place. Got those 2 in place. You've got this little fly one here that is still connected. Transformer is all connected. That's hidden out of the way quite nicely. Now I can just pop the front panel back on. There are 3 screws with these sort of built-in washer type things, and that basically locks the front panel into place. There we go. And there we are. Now, big test. Let's plug it in. So I've got a plug here which is ready to go. I have a number of plugs already plugged in, so I can unplug those because I don't think I need them at the moment. Also don't need our soldering iron at the moment, so that can come out. It can be unplugged, ready for storing. So let's hook in that one and that one. No explosions, always good. And keep an eye on the PSU, make sure that it's not roasting at all. Nope, definitely no roastiness at the moment. Let's take it out of standby. Nothing seems to be doing anything untoward. So let's grab my TV, the trusty 1994/5 Amstrad CTV 1400, and then there's a letter at the end of it because they had an earlier version in the 80s that also had the same model number. Just to confuse things. Let's pop this into there. Let's pop on the telly. Let's find the remote for the television, that might help. No, that's not it. There it is. There we go, there's the remote. So now we need a cassette. There we are, that's just ejected. And as we put on My Fair Lady, because that's the one we've been testing with. And hit play. And it laces. And we might not have anything on the screen at the moment. Yeah, we've got something on channel 5, but it's not tuned in, or program 5. So we'll just give that a bit of a fine tune. So you can't see this at the moment, so I'm not focusing on it just yet, but I'll focus on it shortly, don't worry. Right, that jumping is the take-up spool. You can hear it making that sort of jumpy noise, and I think that's probably got a bit of a bearing on this picture as well. So it is possible that we have a slightly iffy. Yeah, that's, you can hear that sort of trying to unlace there. There's something not happy there. I got a feeling that pinch roller is past its best. I'm just going to carefully eject this. Thankfully, it has come out tape intact. So one thing I always worry about these is that when you eject them, that's it. Especially when they're doing funny things like this. Right, let's do that again. So in, down, play. Right, let's have a look and see if you can see where it's. So it is. Oh, the spool isn't turning there. God, it's one thing after another with this deck. Alright, let's pop that down. Let's get this off. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, this one as well. Right, there we go. So if we hit power on, hit play, right, eject, down, play. Power off, power on, play. Yeah, it's that pinch roller. That pinch roller is not working as it should. So you can actually see it is bunching up around the capstan. So let's actually make sure this spool is working. So if we do the power on and do wind forward. Alright, let's try wind back. Right, okay. Wind forward. There's no spool rotation. Oh. It's just one thing after another with this deck. And they both rotate when you do that. I mean, for goodness sake, let's power it on. They both rotate. If I do play, that's more than happily spinning away, as is that one. So there's no problems with the supply to the spool, because that is most definitely spinning away. If I stop, no problems with that at all. Now it's fast forwarding. Now it's rewinding. Now I can do a fast wind search, but you can just hear it flapping over that pinch roller. You can see it. You can see it turning, but it's jumpy because of that pinch roller isn't exactly pinching properly. I don't know if I've got one that size, you know. Has it settled down? No, it's stopped completely. Okay, well at least we don't have power connectivity issues to the supply and take-up spools, reels rather. Right, let's try and pop off this annoying thing which holds the deck in place. That's most annoying. Excuse me. Oh, there we go. Where are you? Right, give me a couple of moments. There we go, so I think I've got that off now. I've unplugged it because I'm going to be messing around inside it and I don't want my arms anywhere near sources of power. So let's see if I can work out how this comes out. Does it just unclip? Oh, okay. It literally does that. So we got quite a manky looking pinch roller, to be honest with you. Doesn't look its best. Right, off camera, I'm just going to carefully remove this little circlip, because I want to try and keep it. Alright, sorry about this. Right, bear with me. Back very shortly. It actually comes apart surprisingly easily once you get rid of the circlip. So, it literally just sort of pops off this, like so, which is surprisingly easy. Now, what I'm going to do in the background is actually have a look to see if I can find a suitable pinch roller. I'm sure I've got some that size, so bear with me. So I couldn't find a pinch roller that was the correct size. So what I did was I removed this pinch roller, and I did something I don't like doing because I've received criticism for doing it before, but to be honest, sometimes you have to. And that was, I removed the pinch roller and gave it a sanding across all various sort of angles and various sort of faces of the cylinder, well, in other words the cylinder that is the pinch roller, and that has worked. It is playing and there's no jumpiness on the take-up spool, so I call that a win in my book, to be honest with you. Now I'm going to do what I did last week, and I'm actually going to just leave this playing back. So I'm just going to pop this cover back on. So just doing that now. There we go. So that's that anti-static cover back in place. Kind of. Ah! Oops. Yes, that wasn't a nice noise. Anyway, that's that back in place. Oh, don't do that, James. Just leave it like that. Just don't do anything like that, James. Whenever you do anything like that, make sure it's turned off. Don't be an idiot like me. Anyway, the picture's okay now. Let's just check the sound's okay. Yeah, we have sound. Yeah. Right, there we go. So, just get the top cover and gently just pop that back into place. So everything else looks okay, to be honest with you. So top cover, like so. There we go. If you actually put that out the way like so, you can get this on a bit easier. So it needs to sort of slide forwards as it sort of locks in at the top there and there, and then once we're ready we can actually just reassemble the whole lot. So this will just go over like so. Make sure you've got those two bits there, and then that will just go click. And then you've got screw, 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 one screw in the centre, and you're done. And there you have it. The VR2020 with repaired RIFA capacitor tuner board which I've replaced some capacitors on, including a big smoothing cap, which does seem actually to have reduced the flicker on the picture that's coming out over the tuner stage. But now it's a case of just leaving this to play back until this side of the cassette is finished. This is a VC480, so this is an 8-hour cassette, so we're going to have probably 4 hours of playback on this side, and to be honest I'm quite happy just to leave it here and quite happily play back, as it probably hasn't been used for this length of time for a very long time, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it makes any difference. Anyway, kind of a successful finish to this one actually, which is good. Haven't had very many successful VCR jobs lately, but yeah, there we go. Anyway, if you found this video interesting, don't forget to hit the like button, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you soon.